It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
I didn't know it was possible to stoop below the White Sox, but the 2025 Twins have found a way to stoop below the White Sox. SKOR North Twins Show here, an extra innings episode. That's the sports dad, Judd, who's going to have some thoughts, I'm sure, here in just a bit. Twins fall. They're now 0-4 on the season. They just lost 9-0 to the worst team of my lifetime and possibly baseball history from the 2024 White Sox. This is the 2025 White Sox. Chris Paddack who has been preparing for White Sox hitters all for the last week or so, allowed 9 runs, 3 bombs, 89 pitches over 3 1/3. Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa were pulled in the 4th inning. The Twins have been outscored 28-6 through 4 games. And one more for you. The 2024 White Sox have scored more runs and allowed fewer runs than the 2025 Twins did in their first 4 games. Outside of that, Mrs. Lincoln, how's your start to the season?
Well, I heard a stat. Actually, I was in the car for part of this great game, and I heard a stat that the Twins have, so in the first 3 innings of the first 4 games, obviously 12 guys have come to the plate against them. 11 have reached base and 9 have scored. And so it's funny because here's the dilemma. Are you more upset they can't score, or does it not matter they can't score because their starting pitching's been, for the most part, atrocious? So like that's what I'm trying to weigh here. Am I concerned that they're not producing more at the plate, or is it not going to matter if they produce at the plate because of the complete ineptitude? Other than Joe Ryan on Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. Pitched pretty well, nice start, bounce back start, But I mean, this is terrible, and it's funny because it's 4 games. So it's 4 games. Keep that in context, but it comes off just a debacle of an end to 2024 for the Twins. And the other thing too is you got to think about this. How much rope does Paddack get? Like, do you just say, okay, we're going to give him 10 starts no matter what? Do you say we're going to give him a couple starts, and if this continues, because you've got, options. Zebby Matthews was really good in Florida. So I guess my question is, you got to assume Pablo's fine. I assume Bailey is fine. Joe Ryan actually looked good. That's great. But at the back end here, like Chris Paddack to me is a complete unknown. I don't know he deserves to be a starter. So my hook with him would probably be fairly quick. But I mean, this is just a completely terrible look, and they're not just being beat, man. 17 runs off the starting pitchers in the past 2 games. That is an absolute disaster.
So 2 things. Number one, I didn't answer your question from our full edition, which you can also find earlier this afternoon in the SKOR North Twins Show from our State of the Twins episode with Mackie and you and myself. You said, why didn't they just pull Bailey over? Why didn't they just pull Bailey over yesterday and then move up Paddack, right? Push Bailey. Maybe you start Sim for this game, right? But you push Bailey over a bit. The reasoning would be is because Chris Paddack has been preparing to face the White Sox for the last week. And why would they throw a wrench into that plan? Well, he was preparing for one of the worst teams in baseball, and they absolutely tattoo him over 3 1/3. I mean, Judd, the MLB.com says it's a slider. I think a meatball should be declared on that first one he gave up to Andrew Vaughn. I mean, middle, over the plate, 3-1, not even close. He has a spot in this rotation because of his name and his contract. But to your point, how long do they let that go? I mean, yes, I envision he gets another turn. Of course he would. They gave Louis Varland 3 turns, for Christ's sakes, last year when he was atrocious in a similar situation. Before, rebounding in St. Paul a little bit. But to your initial question off the top of which one's more concerning, I mean, everything is concerning. I don't believe, even though the starting pitching was supposed to be, I guess, their DNA, so if you want to put in the pie chart, it is more to blame on starting pitching than it is offense. Judd, they scored 0 runs against Martin Perez today. They
didn't get a hit off of him.
They didn't get a hit.
There were no hit by Martin Perez.
They were indeed no hit by Martin Perez and got their first hit after he was pulled from the game. It's a good point. It's not just one thing. I mean, this is a total, everyone has not come. Willie Castro, congratulations. Yes, Willie Castro's off to a great start. Good for him. I'm proud of him. He got off to a poor start last year, and he's off to a good one this year. Good for him. I mean, it's everything, Judd. It's offense, it's defense, it's bullpen, it's starting pitching. It is a disastrous first 4-game start for the Twins in 2025.
Yeah, it's a terrible look, too, because, it's every game in its own way has been bad. It's not a bunch of close games. They can't hit. It is, as Jim Pohlad once told our friend Chip Scoggins of the Star Tribune, a total system failure. And I just don't understand, they were going to get guys more at bats in Florida. They were going to come out of spring training set to go. And it just appears that they are in a continual malaise that essentially started Dex, last August 16th in Texas. Mm-hmm. It appears this is that team. And you know what? I understand the frustration. I totally get that. But if you're the Twins, and this is the tough thing about baseball, if you're the Twins, when do you say, okay, this is a problem? 4 games in. So they're going to say, hold on a second here. It's 162 games. It's 4 games. But I remember in 2016 talking to Phil about this. And again, they got off to a bad start. And then before you know it, they've lost the first 9 games.
Yeah.
And as Phil said at that time, the problem in baseball is that about that point, you're just buried. You are trying to work out of that then for the rest of the year. And it's difficult. So yes, it's 4 games. But if I saw if this was okay, they're just in a, let's just say one facet to the point of our conversation was going wrong. And it's okay, when that gets fixed, they're fine. But nothing's fixed right now. Nothing's fixed. I mean, the last 2 games, their star of the game has been the Slappy that they brought in from the bullpen to take over after the starter has failed miserably, right? Dobnik comes in, does a nice job. Now he's gone. They bring in McLaughlin, is it? I don't even know who this kid is. So he comes in today, does a nice job. But I mean, it's literally the star of the game the past 2 days has been a dude that has come in with a tourniquet and cut off the bleeding just enough. And they're there for this situation, which, by the way, is a break glass in case of emergency, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know where to start about how you go about giving this context. Because on one hand, you would like to say, okay, it's 4 games. If they lost 4 games in July, you're not going to panic. But that being said, there is nothing so far coming off a miserable end where you say, yeah, okay, it's just one small thing. Where do you start here?
Yeah. Well, we're really fortunate here on the SKOR North Twins Show. We get Trevor Plouffe Tuesdays, every Tuesday. And Coach Trev, who does a phenomenal job for John Boy Media and a variety of other things, or also Twins TV broadcaster, he was on that 2016 team. That started 0-9, so we do get to probably pick his brain tomorrow on what the morale.
I'm sure he'll love that.
And I can't wait.
Let's talk about one of the most miserable teams you've ever been on, where by July, it's just this death knell of trying to get through a season.
Exactly. So we get to pick. So hit that like button, subscribe button. I know this is a 0-4 starts, disastrous start. We'll still be pumping out content. Might be a little bit more content from St. Paul this year from myself at this rate, but regardless, still excited to be covering the Twins for this year. But yeah, when you start 0-9, I mean, yeah, you're buried. It's one thing to be 0-4 or have a 4-game stretch where you lose those games. That's going to happen over the course of 162. But to start 0-4 and then, taking a look just right now at the standings. So Twins go to 0-4. They're 2.5 games back. The Guards are up by a half game again, just through 4 games. But the Twins have a negative, now 22 run differential through the first 4 games of the season. And Judd, they're playing the White Sox. They played a St. Louis team that wasn't expected to be that competitive either. After this, you get 3 at home against Houston, who might not be the Astros from the last 10 years, but they're still a competent team. Kansas City had a phenomenal year last year. Detroit has stumbled a bit out of the gate. But then you have the Mets, the Braves, Cleveland for 4, in Boston for 4 in May. You can't pass up. When we had the Dex plans last, remember the Dex plans 2.0, 3.0, and I'd give you, can you do this over this stretch of games? And they had, last year when they got off to the poor start, they had the White Sox on there 7 times. The Angels were on there. They went on the 14-game winning streak or whatever that was. It basically resurrected them from the dead after starting 7-13. You're starting 0-4 here, and there's some good teams in the schedule. So, and I know, just talking with baseball players professionally or managers or whoever, it's, oh, well, we take it game by game here. Well, dude, you got 162, and this is already going to be a next to impossible to climb out of. Yeah, take a game at a time, but starting 0-4, best case scenario is you're not above 500 until the end of the week. Best case scenario.
Yeah, and that's sweeps. Like
Yes.
that's win the next two, and then you sweep the Stros, which are probably not certainly at this rate going to do. What gets me though is, so I'm not consuming Tigers games, right? Because there's bad starts and and the eye test is like, okay, it's a bad start, but I'm seeing things, right? Dex, correct me if you disagree with me, but this looks dead to me. Like, it looks dead. Your starter gets absolutely in the last two games hammered. Your guys can't hit. Everyone looks like, I guess the word that I would use, like there's a malaise around this team. It just, really surprisingly to me, it looks like they have picked up exactly where they left off in September, which was a malaise. Like, they just look sort of dead. And so it's not like I'm watching them and I'm like, okay, you know what? I see this and I see that. I really see a team that looks, how can I put this as nicely as possible? Directionless. They look directionless. They look like they're just defeated. And I get it. When your starter comes out and is that bad, but the bats aren't going, and look, at some point in time, it's going to come back to Rocco. It's going to come back to Falvey. It has to. That's the fair thing. But yeah, if it looked different, I would probably be like, okay, it's rough, but it's hard to put the but in that sentence, though, when, we're texting on our text thread in like the third inning or the fourth, and your text is they're lifting their starters. The White Sox lifted. I tweeted this. It became a spring training game. Like, we finally saw when, by the way, March is for spring training, so I like this, but it became a spring training game. Both teams put in all of their subs because it was that lost. And at that point in time, if that happens once in a while, I totally get it, but this is really, really disturbing to me.
Very, very disturbing. Here's the fun part. We'll be at Kieran's on Thursday for the home opener from 1 to 2 o'clock. Very excited to hang out there.
I might stay for some pints.
Okay,
I might just screw the game.
Take them for me. I'll take the press pass. I'll be the good boy. I'll stay away from the alcoholic beverages, and Judd can enjoy some for us at Kieran's. We'll be there on Thursday from 1 to 2 o'clock. If you're pissed off and you need to vent, come and hang out with us. We're here. We're some therapy for you. We're not gonna blow sunshine up your you-know-whats for that. So if you want to come out, hang out, vent with us, by all means, please do so. Twin Show live at Kieran's from 1 to 2 o'clock on Thursday. And yeah, Judd, back to your kind of points here of the dead ass thing. That's what I'm struggling to understand. Outside of opening day, they made that a game. Like, Pablo got off to a poor start, but they rallied, right? They got down 4-0 in the third, and they rallied. They made it a 1-run game. They quietly kind of clawed their way back. Griffin Jacks gives up a bomb. That's all she wrote. Okay, one game. That's going to happen. They get a nice start from Joe Ryan on Saturday, but no offense. Sunday and today, you have your starting pitcher basically have thrown the game by the second inning. So it's not even like one thing is working really well. And if this is, regresses a little bit, can you average it back out? I mean, it looks lifeless. I know I tried to defend Carlos Correa on our vibe check of, hey, he's stinging the ball well. His first at-bat today, he slaps a huge ball to that just finds another Adam spot. And I hear Justin Morneau and Corey Probus on the broadcast say, hey, all right, that's going to happen. Don't change your process here. But to your point, you scored 0 runs again today against the worst team that's been assembled in baseball history and supposed to be really bad again in 2025. So that's my thing, is there's not even a thing to hang your hat on right now with this team. Again, 4 games, but still, that's all we have to look at right now.
But is it 4 games? Because I'm being affected by this, and you saw the same exact thing, and we actually talked about it quite a bit. Is it 4 games, or does it go back to what now, since August 16th of 2024, 12-31 or something like that? Like, that's my thing. And if you go back, Dex, the thing that we discussed, both being around the clubhouse for home games at least, was this felt like a really divided club. Like, by the end, and I get it, the season was going bad, and there's one of two ways that can go. Off-season comes, everyone gets away, they come back, kumbaya again, and it's fine. And I guess from what I read in Florida, it felt like, okay, it's fine. But this doesn't look fine. Like this looks like some type of, and I really do think that at the last month of last year was awful. Like it felt terrible. Like the players were miserable. Correa came back, and I don't think he liked how guys approached the game. And so I guess my question is this a continuation of that? Because it feels like that. It doesn't feel like a simple slump. It feels like a very much a continuation. And I see the comments, and they're right. This team didn't do a lot. So it's not like this is an entirely new team. They didn't blow out guys left and right. There are some changes made, but they're certainly not substantial. So I guess what I fear, and the question becomes, how do you address this? Because you can't allow it to go on for long then. Is this a continuation of what you were dealing with at the end of 2024? Because if that's the case, then you could make a pretty coherent case it's not just 4 games. It actually dates back to August of last year when things started to go wrong. And I think we found, as we got farther away from the season, we found, oh, okay, Joe Ryan got hurt, blah, 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 right? Correa was out for a while. So we sort of could make excuses as we created some time away from the season. But now it looks like the same thing. And my question becomes, is this a mere extension of where things weren't as solid as we hoped or thought? And if that's the case, you got problems. And where they have to actually get this figured out quickly is you don't have time to like go through a bad month.
Right.
And it's already off to a terrible start.
Yeah, Grifter on our YouTube channel says here, Rocco already did his post game. Grifter, I'll take your word for it for right now. We'll go back and listen and watch it. Hopefully it's available. That Rocco said, we can't see any trends yet, and we are just thinking too hard right now, is what he said, kind of was the summary of his press conference. Well, if you're not thinking too hard, why you pull your starters in the 4th inning? Like, look, it's 9-0. Like, I don't necessarily disagree. At that point, probably the game is more than likely over. But are you thinking too hard? Are you leaning too much in the trends at that point that you've punted a game 4 of the season? I mean, what message does that send? Is that another thing did Carlos and Buck just say, bleep this, like, take me out of this? Like, and that's also very interesting to like figure out, because the dynamic of last year was it got really sour and we're going to use a fresh start. No one is hurt going into the offseason outside of just like a Joe Ryan situation where he's rehabbing. And then, at the end of spring training, you lose Brooks Lee. You lose Royce Lewis, which is obviously the bigger one you lose. So then, your bench and your external things get a little more complicated. But hey, you have your what? You have your what? Starting pitching. That's going to set the tone. And you still have a pretty good lineup sans Royce Lewis. The defense, we might have to have a little bit of a journey out there. But again, we like the bigger bones of this team. Best bullpen in baseball. 4 games. I mean, nothing to show for it. And to your point, the lifelessness, I think that's what's the alarm. If they were just really running into a ton of atom balls all the time and their offense was producing, but they were just, dead in the water by the time their starters were allowing 9 runs through 3 innings, I could get down with, all right, this is going to level off through 4 games, and all I have to work with the trends and the data that's in front of me. I'm not saying you are completely panicked, but you have to be alarmed. If you're Rocco and Falvey and the coaching staff, if you're not alarmed by this, I'm sorry, then what are you looking at? Well, would be my grab. Then what's the point of what you're doing? And there has to be sometimes a person, right? Just like in turbulence. I need to look at the flight attendant in the turbulence to say, hey, this is choppiness. I don't like this. I need to look at someone else. And no one's doing that. And I think that's what probably is scary.
That's supposed to be Carlos, but I believe he's now 0 for 12. And yes, he might be hitting the ball hard, but he's 0 for 12. But I would like to know the context of what does thinking too hard mean? Like you just got blown out in back-to-back games. And what's sad is this. In the one game, Saturday, right? Saturday, this bullpen, which we've thought is going to be good, that was their one shot. Their one shot to, okay, come out here and close her down and we'll score a couple of runs. And we're at that point 1-1, and they were terrible. The bullpen was terrible. And then you get, yes, Dobnik comes in, and then today with the kid, they come in and they do stem the bleeding or stop it, but they are in there as sacrificial lambs. And the fact that they both succeeded was great for them, but the game is done. So I would like to know what thinking too hard means. Like, you're thinking too hard about what? You are playing terrible baseball. You are not hitting. You are not pitching. I mean, Eddie Julian goes in the game today, and I don't know what the hell that was, but he muffs the ball, something awful. Like, they look like a team that either doesn't care, or if they do care, they're just really terrible. And Julian, I mean, I know Julian has his struggles at second, but that was terrible. That was awful. They don't look prepared. Thinking too hard to me is like close games, right? Like, guys are, gripping the bat. That's how I think of that. But in this case, they're not gripping the bat too hard. They're just awful at the plate.
Yeah, rough first 4 games for this Minnesota Twins team. Again, we'll have Trevor Plouffe tomorrow on a Plouffe Tuesday, who will hopefully either join us in the duel here or talk us off a ledge.
I saw a tweet. I think he's going to be. I don't know he'll jump off the ledge. I think he's going to be with us on the ledge.
Yeah, so he'll be able to at least give us some insight. Yep, and old Dex Tweets gets to lead that show and ask him, hey Trev, what was it like when you started 0-9, and then how did that work out for the rest of the year? So that'll be a fun
what stems it? That's what I want to know. Like, what can be said, what can be done. But I do think the guy that's supposed to be the flight attendant in that clubhouse is Correa. Yeah. He's the veteran. He's got to say, and he's making too much not to do something.
And he might be, right? He might be doing that. We don't know if that's happening. We don't
close door.
We won't know. And look, I'm waiting for any tweets of if Rocco indeed already spoke. I expected he probably did. But he had the epic meltdown in Kansas City last year. He called the team unprofessional.
You can't do that publicly yet.
No, it's way too early for that.
But you could definitely address them privately.
Yeah.
Because we need to see more. I mean, my God.
Yeah. So hit that like button and subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify, however you listen to those podcasts. We appreciate that. Again, we'll be at Kieran's Irish Pub in Minneapolis. It's just steps away from Target Field on Thursday from 1 to 2 o'clock. So that'll be a fun time, probably a therapeutic time. You can cheers one maybe with Judd as we try to figure out what the hell's going on with the local 9 here in Minnesota. So appreciate you guys. This has been an Extra Innings episode. Go check out our State of the Twins episode 2 on this podcast feed and channel. We'll be talking to you tomorrow for a Plouffe Tuesday.